Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the annual general meeting of Northumberland County Council. The first item of business is actually to elect a chair and deputy chair for the following year. I think after the wonderful job they've done over the last year, I'm happy to propose that we carry on with Richard Dodd as the chairman of the council and Councillor Barry Flux as the deputy chair of the council. So is that seconded? Seconded by my deputy. Thank you very much. All those in favour? Right, anyone against? And any abstention? I think there are a number of abstentions from the...
They're abstaining from abstaining.
Right, okay, well that's carried. Thank you very much.
Yeah, one sec. I'll just shift my phone. Right. Sorry, there's lots of bits of paper for this meeting, so it'll just be a little bit tricky. But welcome, everybody. Apologies for absence.
Robinson, Laurie and Richards.
Any from the floor?
Wilson and Cross.
Anybody else? Can't see. Okay. To appoint a civic head and deputy civic head for the ensuing year. Nominations for civic head?
I'd like to propose Councillor Hutchinson.
Is there a seconder? Seconded by Jeff Watson. Anybody else for civic head? No? Shall I appoint the deputy as well so we can do a joint changeover or do the changeover?
Yeah, I'd like to propose Councillor Armstrong as deputy civic head for the following year.
Seconded? We have that. Plenty. Okay. Anybody else? I can't see anybody, so Councillors Hutchinson or Armstrong are duly elected deputy and civic head. Now then, there's a little bit of a ceremony, if you can call it that, where we swap the chains, and I will then invite Councillor Jeff Watson to say a few words on his retirement as civic head.
With great pleasure, I give this change to Councillor Hutchinson. And can I just say thank you very much for all the support that I've had over the last year. It's been a very, very interesting year, thank you. It's been a very, very interesting year. As you can imagine, I've travelled from Berwick to Ripon, from Ashington to Kielder, and many places in between, most of them in Northumberland. I've been to unveilings and I've been to funerals, unfortunately. I've been to events, all sorts of things. It's been a really, really interesting year. But you know what they say, behind every good man, and I hope I've been a good man, I hope I've represented Northumberland well, you have a good woman. Well, I'm very fortunate in that I have 4 good women behind me. And I would like to say thank you to those 4 good women, especially for all the work, the help, the guidance, the advice, and in many cases, the clearing up and the serving of dishes, the washing of dishes. And I'd like to say thank you very much indeed to Susan, to Tracy, and to Jackie. And I'd like them all to come out and I'll give them a little thank you for what, and a show of appreciation for what they've done for me for the year. Can you help me with this? Thank you. Might be in the wrong order, but you can sort them out. Thank you very much for your help.
Thank you.
Been very, very good.
Thank you, June.
Thank you very much, Tracy.
Thank you.
Very good. There we go. Jackie, thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.
And finally, I did say 4 good women. My lovely wife has been a great help to me this year. Thank her very much indeed. And I can just say good luck to Ian for the future. Farewell.
Well, thank you all very much. I'm really pleased and honoured to be taking part in this job I've been given. We've got a fantastic county. I really love it. It's one of the best. It is the best in the country, not one of the best. It is the best. And I look forward to representing the council at numerous functions. I've been to quite a few already, thanks to my the past Civic head, and look forward to it all. And my charities, I'm going to have 2 charities actually. One charity is going to be Alzheimer's, and the other one is going to be the Doddy Weir charity, which is for motor neuron disease. I think they're both really deserving charities, and I would love to think that all of you will support me and help to support. This isn't political, this goes across everybody, so please support me. Thank you.
Sorry, I forgot to say that my charity this year has been the Royal British Legion, as I'm sure you're aware of, and I have just presented a cheque for £16,409.09 to the British Legion. I think the 9 pence... I think the 9 pence was Richard's contribution to the charity. Thank you very much indeed.
Well, now that we know your carbon footprint, and Ian Hutchinson's charity is called, and I have emailed, it's called My Name is Doddy. But we will hopefully have Doddy Weir to, we're going to try and support him. I hope, so in course. Now the Deputy Civic Head.
Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate this opportunity, but I won't keep you any longer because I know you're dying to get on with this meeting. So it is a big thank you.
Two little bits before we really get going. We don't have Nicola on the mic. We have someone new. I forgot to get your name. Your name is? Jen. And okay. So I will try and guide for everybody who's going to speak next. So bear that in mind so that we can actually get the meeting run smoothly. And the other thing I need to remind you of that we are in Purda. So if someone has a real statement to make or whatever, I might cut you off. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, but we are in Purda and we have to abide by the rules, and I will take advice from Liam, our legal officer on the right. Okay, minutes. We have the minutes of page 9 to 38. And this is for accuracy. Anybody wish to? Councillor Jones.
Thank you. Chairman, on page 16, at the very last statement, can't see it to read it, but it says that I did not believe some of the concerns were genuine.
This is at the bottom of the page.
Yeah. Have you found it? It says that I felt that some of the concerns being expressed were not genuine. I'd just like to correct that. Sorry. another piece of paper because I wrote down what I thought I'd said. I don't think I said that. It's not correct, and I don't think I would have said that. If I remember rightly, I questioned why members had waited until the council meeting to bring up what were genuine and valid concerns instead of either during the scrutiny process or instead of feeding them into the consultation process. Thank you.
Okay. Can't see anybody else. Sorry. Councillor Carty?
Thank you. It's at the top of page 16. What I said was that the death rate was increasing and people were dying earlier because of poverty, not stabilising. I said increasing the death rate. That's my only thing.
Okay, that'll be corrected. I can't see anybody else, so we will move on. Disclosure of members' interest. Is there anything on here that someone feels they need to declare? Councillor Sharp.
Thanks, Chairman. I would like to declare an interest, please, on page 74, minutes of the Cabinet meeting held on the 9th of April, as I am Chairman of the Hoddesdon District Joint Burial Committee.
Okay. Right. Item, Councillor Towns.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to declare an interest in item 8. Just being super cautious here. One of the appointments is to Royal Grammar School, where my wife is a member of staff, and also one of the appointments is to the Northumberland College Board of Governors. I am myself a governor on the Board of Governors, not appointed by this authority.
Okay. Right, item 6, appointments, and I go over to the leader.
Right, yeah, thank you, Chair. There is a note giving the responsibilities of the Deputy Leader and all of the Cabinet members, which we update on an annual basis. There is a very slight amendment to that, which has been circulated, and these are very minor changes just for accuracy. And with that, I present for noting to the whole Council the Cabinet for the following year. Thank you.
I cannot see anybody. Item number... Councillor Dungworth?
I was just going to say, in terms of committee appointments from the Labour Group, we'll be submitting those today.
Fine. At that point, I'd like to welcome yourself and Councillor Dickinson as leader and deputy leader of the Labour Group. Needs to be noted, so thank you. Item 7, committee appointments. To appoint chairs and vice chairs, etc. No real changes apart. Do you want to say anything, leader?
No, I mean, the changes from all of the other groups are notified in the papers here. I don't think there are any changes to that. And we take on board anything that the Labour group have put forward to fill their positions. The normal position is that changes throughout the year are by agreement of the group leaders. That's been the situation for quite a long time, and it works quite well. So I think it's all quite straightforward this year. Thank you.
Okay, so we can take item 1 and item 2, that is the appoint the chairs and vice chairs of committees and the appointments of committees. Are we happy with that? Because some of these positions are to come in after the election tomorrow and after the North of Tyne election. So are we happy with that they are done in the usual manner? Agreed? Agreed. Thank you. Appointments to outside bodies. Again, I don't propose any changes other than pupil referral unit at the bottom, where I will swap Councillor Wayne Daly with Councillor Christine Dunbar. Some of these appointments on here, again, will not take place until after the North of Tyne election result and we see where we are. Are we happy with that?
Yep.
Oh, we're going well, aren't we? Announcements. Right. I've just been informed yesterday, and it's sad news for Councillor Margaret Richard, whose husband died yesterday, And I'm also informed that Margaret is in hospital herself. So I think we need to send her a card and flowers the usual manner. Are we happy with that? Yes. And equally, we'll find out more, but I believe Tom Wilson is in hospital as well. So I think we'll find out if he's out or he's not out, and we'll do the same for Tom. Are we happy with that? Right. The other appointment announcement is that I need to announce that Lady Joycey has become the new High Sheriff of the county. And the other announcement is about Bamborough. Bamborough, it's the Which Travel magazine, has been chosen as the best coastal village or destination in the UK. So well done, Bamborough. Yeah. That's my announcement, and I'll go to Councillor Jackson for his.
Right, there's some really good news about our council and the great work that our staff do. Just actually come in. Our highways team has just been notified that they've actually won a national award. The team collected a prestigious Association of Public Service Excellent Award for the service they provide. They beat teams from other local authorities right across the UK for the innovative way they engage with the public and update road users, along with their work with contractors and neighbouring authorities. Absolutely wonderful, and I know that we do appreciate the work they do. And the second one is this council is in the running for the Municipal Journal Awards after being named as a finalist in the Workforce Transformation category. The winners will be announced in London on the June the 26th, so good luck to all those who are involved with that one. And then finally, we're all fully aware that the North of Tyne Combined Authority mayoral elections are tomorrow. Polling stations open from 7 till 10 with the new mayor announced on Friday afternoon. But for today, particular thanks goes to the whole of our election team who've been working actually night and day, way above beyond the call of duty for the last few days. And they assure us everything is absolutely tickety-boo for tomorrow. So thank you very much to them as a team. Thank you.
Good. Item 10, correspondence. I've only got one, and it's the final one of this sort of 2-year, me sitting here and Grant. But I've got Grant as a Guardian reader. I've brought you the Farmer's Guardian. So you've got a lot more time to sit and read stuff now. So I'll draw your attention to the article about shooting of pests, as in crows and pigeons, where us poor farmers can't even protect our crops anymore. So that's for you, Grant.
I'll collect it after the meeting, Chair, and you can show us the size of your bank book, because I believe you need to protect your crops part of the
That would be under PERDA. I would have to rule that out. Questions? We have none. Item 12, to receive the minutes of Cabinet meetings held on the Tuesday the 12th of February, Tuesday the 12th of March, the 9th of April, and Monday the 29th of April, which you should have on your seats or on your desks. Is there anything for accuracy or questions on the minutes? Anybody? Councillor Hill.
Thank you, Chair. Couple of points of accuracy. On the bottom of page 71, this is the minutes of the Cabinet, the 9th of April. It says that I reminded members that 5 county councillors had signed a letter requesting the 10-year retention of benefits for Consultant C. What I referred to is that there were 5 directors of Arch who'd signed this letter trying to secure Consultant C these benefits, but I actually said that there were 4 of the 5 directors, it was 4, not 5 county councillors. So that's the first point. And the second reference is it says that I said that one of these county councillors had endorsed the current Police and Crime Commissioner. It was actually the other way around. I referred to the fact that the Police and Crime Commissioner had endorsed at least one of these county councillors, which obviously raises issues of public confidence regarding political impartiality.
Okay. Anybody else on Cabinet minutes? Councillor Ruffhead.
Thank you, Chair. It's the bottom of page 74, and it's the report about the Holt, Whistle and District Joint Burial Board. Now, it's just a question. It was just for clarification, because it says that that was passed, but in one of the reports that was at Cabinet, it wasn't in the minutes. One of the parishes concerned at the time that the Cabinet meeting was held wasn't 100%. A quote from Appendix H. One of the parish councils indicated from outset that it was not content with the proposed changes to the arrangements. Did that parish council ever get back in contact and write and say that they were happy with the proposals in the end?
No idea.
Chairman, the particular parish council. The particular parish council have not responded to indicate agreement, but the powers under that particular provision allow the county council to make arrangements in the event of any disagreement. So their decision stands as the Cabinet made it.
Just a personal point, I think it would have been pertinent to sort of try and do a consensus building with the parish councils rather than sort of imposing a structure that not 100% of the membership was happy with.
Chairman, if all of the participating burial authorities in that particular joint burial committee were in agreement, there would be no need for the county council to exercise its powers.
I think you need to talk to local members on the issues. Right, anything else? I cannot see anybody, so I'm going to move on. We have minute I. Sharpie, can you hear? Someone.
He's on his mobile.
We will move to minute 86, which we have to approve. And I'll hand straight over to Councillor Nick Oliver.
Can you just remind me what page it's on? Is it? Oh no, I've got it. Yeah. So this was a cabinet proposal to fund the further feasibility study of the Northumberland line, which basically progresses it to a state where it can be submitted to the DFT for funding. So I think the first draft will go in June, and then the following the actual submission will be made in November. This is a huge opportunity for us as a council to really do something significant to regenerate parts of our county, and it's not only an important project for Northumberland, it's a massive project for the whole of the Northeast. The NIPPR have recently done a study looking at all of the different transport projects that could happen, and this was identified as one of the top 2 projects that can actually achieve significant economic benefit in the Northeast. So what we're proposing is to fund the next stage of the study, which is 3.46 million, and we're proposing to fund it through the current year's underspend. And that's working its way through. We should have the outturn report very shortly, but the indication at the moment is that there will be funds within the current year underspend to fund this study. Thank you.
Are we content and happy with that progress? Yes, Councillor Gallagher at the back.
Thank you very much. Yep, content, but my disappointment is when there was an event around the rail, the Ashington councillors and other councillors along that rail track weren't involved with it. So can we please involve other members, please?
Can that be noted? Down to the front, Councillor Reid.
Yeah, just to be clear, are we talking about the Ashington Blythe timeline here?
Sorry? You know when you were called the Liberals, now you're called Liberal Democrats.
Yeah, I remember it very well, yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Jackson.
So we are going to take a vote on this, because obviously I'm going to vote against the total waste of 3.6 million quid.
He hasn't read his Hollywell leaflets.
Councillor Jackson?
I know it is a bit strange when one party's campaigning on one ticket in a particular part of the county and publicly in another part of the county says something completely opposite to that.
You need to strike that from the record, Chair. If we're talking about being in the heard, you need to be very, very careful what you say.
Right, no, I would be. Just a very quick update. Early work on this study is really positive, and I must sort of tell the whole council that, and I think we'll all be very pleased about that. The cost-benefit ratios, we're told, are coming out really well, and we are getting early positive feedback from the Department for Transport. So we're really pleased that it's actually started to gain a lot of traction, this project. What we will do is we'll promise to update the whole council as soon as this report is completed and as soon as we've got some detail, and that will include local members. The actual train journey that we sponsored actually only went down a short part of the track, and unfortunately it couldn't get past Bedlington. That was part of the reason behind it. Thank you.
Councillor Dunworth.
Yeah, thanks. I think I just want to reiterate that this line that goes from Ashington through Blythe and ends up in Tyneside is cross-party. The support for this has gone on for decades and decades, and can we please treat it as a cross-party county council achievement rather than a party political one, and make sure everybody is involved in it, and I think takes credit, because a lot of people who've done a lot of the groundwork are no longer even here on this council. So I'm just making that plea, please.
Yeah, you might just come back on that. But what we've actually needed is some real facts and figures and a real programme. And until now, it's all been a bit up in the air and a bit of speculation. But this bit of work is what's actually tying it down and making it deliverable. And the promise is to include the whole council in the proposals as soon as we've got the absolute detail.
Okay. So we can agree that minute, apart from, do you want to? I'll have a vote, then let's have a vote. Those in favour? Are you sure? Okay. Those against? Any abstentions? I think it's carried. Okay, let's move on to receive the report and consider the minutes of the following committee meetings. Item 13. Number 1 is Corporate Services and Economic Growth Overview and Scrutiny. Councillor Bourne, I've been overseas.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move the minutes of the Corporate Services and Economic Growth Overview and Scrutiny Committee held on the 1st of April, not April Fool's Day, well, it was April Fool's Day, but it was very, very informative, at Monday the 1st of April. Thank you.
Right. Any questions on these sets of minutes for Councillor Bourne? I see no one indicating. Yeah. Next one, item 2, Family and Children's Services, pages 81 to 92. Councillor Renner Thompson.
Thank you, Chair. I hereby present the minutes of the Family and Children's Services Overview and Scrutiny Committee, 2 meetings held on the 11th of February and the 7th of March.
Anybody want any questions asked on this? I see no one. Can we agree the minute? Agree. Item 3, Communities in Place Overview and Scrutiny. Councillor Reid, pages 93 to 104.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move the minutes of the Communities in Place Scrutiny Committee dated the 6th of February and the 27th of March.
Any questions? Councillor Dale.
Thank you very much. Can I just ask you a question about 47.1, please? The review of the waste strategy. and the work you've done under that, and I welcome anything that actually we do provides more provision for recycling, and it would be great if we could lift the figures up. Can I just ask you, when you revisit this, one of the big things we had, and this is going back a long time ago, we did a big piece of work at Tyndale on the collection of curbside glass, and it is expensive, it's very expensive. One of the things we have over the Tyndale areas, we do have lots of areas where you can actually recycle bottles, lots and lots of bottle banks. And I have concerns about the cost of the revenue to actually taking this forward. I know it's under consideration at the moment. One thing is, two things can I ask you, is, for instance, in Prado we have a wonderful recycling centre. And I can fill my car up and I can go around, I can just about get rid of everything possible. And it's no cost to the council because they're not charging, they're not collecting it. And we could have better recycling centres. Also on top of that, we could have better leaflets, because the leaflets that go out are not clear because it's very difficult, but there's so many different provisions. But I would like to see more people going to recycling centres to boost that recycling percentage, rather than the council spending money to go and collect it. And I think it's a matter of encouraging the public, because this day and age we've got real issues about revenue and we're going to have further issues. So it would be great if we could have the support of the public in bringing in all these pots, etc. Go to Prado, you can have great fun going around Prado. It takes you a long time, round and round, but more people should maybe be doing that. Could you have a look at that, please, when you next review this?
Do you want to respond?
I think the answer is probably yes, but it'll be up for the administration to produce a report that I then call in. So it'll be up to them what they do, but I'm quite happy to look at it again.
Right. Councillor Sanderson?
The household waste recycling centres were a possible target for our savings cuts this year, but we decided that we wouldn't cut the opening hours of those. And I think probably of all the compliments that local services get, it's around the good service they get at the household waste recycling centres from the staff, and they're working very well, and I take my hat off to the staff that work there. As far as glass recycling is concerned, I am wanting to see a pilot introduced this year, and I'm wanting to see glass recycling rolled out as much across the urban areas next year as we can. The current recycling rate of that we have at the moment, which is something like 38%, is simply not good enough, and we will get that better.
Councillor Campbell? Councillor Campbell?
I would just like to say a big thank you to the staff at the recycling centre at Bebbside, because they do an absolute wonderful job. They're so helpful whenever you go, and they go out of their ways to help people, and not just me but other people, and I think it should be put on record as the wonderful job that they do and how kind they are. Thank you.
Councillor Jackson, did you want?
Yeah, I'd just like to state that actually we need a brand new strategy for recycling in Northumberland. 38% or wherever it might be is nowhere near good enough. The public have been telling me that for a number of years now, and it's actually an issue that's risen in people's consciousness quite considerably. And it might cost us a few pennies more, but actually it's our duty to deal with this in a much more effective manner. So instead of shoveling stuff into landfill, and we don't put much into landfill, but we want to reduce that. We want to create electricity and energy from quite a number of our waste streams, but we want to recycle everything that's possible, which is why we're taking this issue really seriously. Recycling in this county has been stuck at that sort of 38% level for years now, but it's about time we did something different, and we're coming up with proposals to do that. Thank you.
Okay. Can't see anybody else. Thank you for that. Let's move on to item 4, health and wellbeing, overview and scrutiny, 105, 124. Councillor Watson.
I'd like to present the minutes for the 5th of March and the 26th of March for both of those meetings. Nothing really outstanding. There are several issues we are waiting to have reports on before we can do a proper scrutiny, namely Berwick, Hexham, Walton, but at the moment we haven't the reports to scrutinise, so this is a good minute of what we've done so far at the last minutes. Thank you. I hope you will accept them.
Can we accept? I can't see anybody. Yes? Happy with them? Yep. Item 5, sorry. Health and Wellbeing Board, which is myself. So I'll present the meetings on page 125 to 134. There's 2 meetings. Cannot see anybody asking anything, so we'll move on to item 6, the Audit Committee. Councillor Hill, pages 135 to 152.
Thank you, Chair. Present the minutes of the Audit Committees held on the 22nd of March and the 27th of March. Just to note that the meeting on the 22nd of March was an extraordinary meeting to receive a embargoed report done by the Chief Internal Auditor, which has been embargoed, insistent on being embargoed by Northumbria Police. Great thanks was given to the Chief Internal Auditor for all her and her team's work in producing such a detailed evidence-based report. I would ask members, if you haven't read the report, to do so, other members. There was a long discussion and it was agreed, amongst other things, to ask the Cabinet and the Chief Executive to contact the Home Secretary to request that another police force looked at matters raised in the report. So I present these minutes.
Any questions? Councillor Bainer.
Thanks, Chair. A couple of questions, if I can, to Councillor Hill. It was quite astonishing, actually, once you've read the report up to be actually there, and to have Councillor Oliver read the details, and as I say, it was astounding to listen to. I understand that what the Chair's asked for the Chief Executive to go to the Home Secretary, but I think it was Councillor Swinburne and Rickaby and several other councillors who said that they could stay there all day asking questions, but without the people mentioned in the report, they weren't going to get the answers. Could I ask Councillor Hill if she has any plans to invite the people mentioned to a audit committee to answer the questions that were put to them? The second question is, on September, the Chief Constable came to the full council to do a presentation. At that time, Councillor Hill asked what I believe was a very pertinent question, and many of the residents in my ward thought so as well. I believe she got a reply from the Chief Constable. I would like to hear what the reply was.
Councillor Hill.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the questions. Regarding invitations to those mentioned in the report, I have previously issued an invitation to the Police and Crime Commissioner, previously issued an invitation to Councillor Grant Davey, and there will be invitations, if they haven't already done so, through the team to all those the specific councillors who are named former directors of Arch in the report, to give them a right of reply. So those invitations will be, and if there is anyone who feels that they would like to present their side of the case, then I'd be very keen to hear from them. So you don't have to wait for the invitation. During the course of the discussions, there was a number of concerns regarding the so-called investigation, and indeed regarding the changing information that the police had given regarding the investigation. So they had told the council that they couldn't release the report because there was a criminal investigation. Then they told the media on several occasions there was no criminal investigation. Very oddly, they were saying, but they were assisting the council regarding matters to do with governance, which frankly isn't their remit. But if they have done such a report, we'd be very interested to to see it. And as you alluded to, when the Chief Constable came in September, and that was in September, many months after they said they were investigating it, he said the people who will be investigating it, so it's a future tense. So there's many, many questions that will be asked of the police, and obviously there's appeal to the Home Secretary to move to another police force. The most important aspect is that the public can have confidence that this has been a robust investigation and without fear or favour. With the Chair's permission, I'm happy to read out the letter that I had.
How long is it?
Just over one side.
Okay.
21st of September. Dear Councillor Hill, I am instructed by the Chief Constable of Northumberland Police to write to you in connection with the above council meeting. Okay. On 5th of September 2018, at a meeting of the full Northumberland County Council, questions were being asked of the Chief Constable of Northumbria Police. In the course of those questions, you were given the opportunity to ask the Chief Constable a question and said the following, and this is pretty much accurate from what I said, if not verbatim. Over the last month, there's been a number of reports that we, the Audit Committee, have received relating to Arch and the previous administration, that some aspects have involved allegations or suspicions of criminality. We have not heard any feedback as to what is going on, and members of the Audit Committee, including independent members and members of the public, are saying, what is going on? Are they taking these allegations seriously? Are they deploying resources to investigate these properly? More worryingly, and this is a perception, and I'm quoting from members in the public and others, the PCC is a prominent member of the same party. And some people are saying things like, would of course they really take this seriously given they are members of the same party. So can you give me assurances that this investigation will be robust, thorough and free from any political interference? In his response to you, this is back, it's just about...
yeah, okay. I think we are in Purda. Hang on, let me finish. We're in Purda, Councillor Hill. I think we've heard enough to get the tone of the letter, and I think I've got it in my ear. We're in fear of getting into a full debate on this subject. Okay. What was asked was for information, and it seems to be going further.
Well, if anyone wants to see this letter,
yeah, I think you can do that.
But the politics that's been raised is very relevant in Audit Committee doing
Any
its
other
job.
questions for Audit? Yep.
Thanks, Chair. Chair, I understand the timing of this, but I think the answer and the reply in that letter is vitally important. A lot of my residents are asking what was in that reply. I know we can't discuss it now, but I would like this brought back.
Right, okay, I'm being told we're moving into debate, so I think it will come back. It just so happens that we are in Purda, and I've probably gone far enough on that. Right, any other questions? No. Item 7, Brexit and Devolution Working Group. Councillor Jackson.
Yeah, I'm very happy to present the minutes of the latest Brexit and Devolution Working Group. Thank you.
Any questions on this, Councillor Reid? So
Page 201, which is section B of the thing, you'll find that I'm sure the Bedlington Independents would not want to claim me as one of their members.
You're a Liberal, aren't you?
Well, apparently. So I would not like to bring the Bedlington Independents into disrepute. And Councillor Wallace has been moved out, so it was just to put that right.
Thank you. Any further questions? I can't see any. Delegated decisions, pages 159 to 60. Agree that? Item 15, report of the Executive Director of Adult and Social Care and Children's Services. Councillor Daly.
Thank you, Chair.
And this is an information item.
Thank you, Chair. I thought I would bring this information to full council to principally ensure that every member of the council was fully aware and up to speed on the compulsory changes to how anti-discrimination programmes are being delivered within our schools in Northumberland and indeed across England. Members may or may not be aware, and this is the whole point of bringing this report, that from September 2019 Ofsted regulations are changing, and that the implementation of statutory relationships education from 2020 means that schools will need to tackle all forms of prejudice and discrimination. And Northumberland County Council, as well as many other councils, are now developing innovative and enhanced ways of delivering anti-discrimination work across our whole school network. So let me be very clear in what I'm saying to you now, that changes to contractual agreements with Show Racism the Red Card do not mean that this council is walking away from our vital work in that particular sphere of anti-discrimination work. In fact, the opposite is true. For those of you who have actually read the report in front of you, for those who attended Cabinet on Monday, and for those who attended the Facts Scrutiny meeting a couple of weeks ago, you will know that we are establishing an Equalities Fund for all organisations to apply to be able to deliver against the new anti-discrimination framework. And Show Racism, the Red Card, are very welcome to apply, and know they are welcome to apply to that fund to be able to deliver work in Northumberland. In fact, I've had many conversations with Show Racism, the Red Card. And in last week, in fact, I met with the Director of Children and Adult Services, the Chief Executive of Show Racism, the Red Card, and their Operations Manager. And we went through again in detail about the opportunities which lie ahead of them to be able to work with the County Council, and in fact anyone who has got a bit of spare time, if you have a look on the County Council school portal, you'll see that there is an advert for Show Racism the Red Card and the opportunities for schools to be able to contract them directly to deliver anti-racism work within the schools. So let me just very clearly focus on this report, which I think is so important. Now, members will have read it, I'm very sure, but let me just draw your attention to a few things, and I think this is really important for us to understand. That over the past few years, this administration and the previous administration, and going back to Councillor Reid's as well, have involved themselves in a whole range of anti-discrimination work. So I just want to give you a small flavour of the sort of things which have happened over the last year. 2 Stonewall workshops at a value of £1,000. We've had 12 half-day hate crime awareness workshops in schools to the value of £7,200. We're working with Trinity Youth to the value of £5,000. We're also doing casework, 50 half-day interventions dealing with disability, race, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, Q+, asylum-related work, £12,500. Holocaust Memorial Day, which is £3,000 of investment that we put in, and rightly so. The World in Your Classroom, an offer into all of our schools, £1,500 put into that. Black History Month, £1,500. Sexual identity, sexual orientation, training events for teachers, for young people, £1,000. Stonewall, again, feature heavily in the work that we do. £3,500 invested into Stonewall to come and to work in our schools. And in addition to that, we've also done a huge amount of work using the poverty and pupil premium funding to organise conferences for teachers, CPD, continuous professional development, summer projects, including a huge summer project that we ran in some of our areas last year, to the value of £60,000. And we're also doing a lot of work with Northumbria Police and the Independent Advisory Group on challenging some of those issues around radicalisation and extremism to the value of £7,000. There are more. The total value is £137,000 that's been spent supporting anti-discrimination work in our council. And every one of us should be proud that we're actually doing that. So, Chair, I wanted to bring this report. I thought it was really important that as the corporate parenting that we all have within this council, that we understand that all of the work that we're doing is being enhanced, it is being improved, and it's being increased because of changes through Ofsted in 2019, later on this year in September, and next year as well when we come into relationship management within our schools. The Equalities Fund, which is listed on page 164 of your report in front of you today, is the beacon by which we enhance work already happening within our schools and do even more. So, Chair, I commend the report to Council to note for information.
Right, this is an information report on what has been done. It's not a debate, but I'm going to allow Councillor Dungworth to say.
Thank you, and thank you to Councillor Daly for the report and the update. I just wanted to say a couple of things. I'm not opening it for debate. I think in the current climate, the fact that this has attracted so much publicity is around the climate that we're in. And I think around those rising divisions, the rising hate crime and the general feeling of concern that a lot of us in public life have around our communities and our responsibility in them. But I welcome the report, I welcome the statement yesterday from yourself and Show Racism the Red Card. And I want to make the statement in this chamber that nobody in this Labour group has accused this council of being racist or taking a racist decision. We might have done things differently, but you know that was not the bottom line of it. It is too important an issue to make it about party politics, but it is a political issue, and hence you get demonstrations and I think a lot of anger out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we accept the report?
Yep.
Agree. Right, update on previous council motion. This is about the guards on the train. It was Councillor Reid's motion of 2 meetings ago. I am told that the item is resolved. Now then, do we want to keep this coming back? Councillor Reid and Councillor Bowen.
Thanks, Chair. I'd be interested to know what you mean by resolved. Whether you have we had a reply to any of the communications we sent out? Anyway, perhaps we're going to come to that. I'm quite happy to move that we don't receive any more reports. If you remember what the motion said, members of the meeting just need to vote not to have another one, and that'll be it. I just did this in the first place to demonstrate how hollow sometimes the motions that are put through this council are. We need to let's wipe the slate clean, start again. And motions in this coming year, if there are any motions and they do pass, can we please leave this item on the agenda? Can we follow up? Can we chase? Can we make certain that if this council decides it wants to do something, then there is some action comes out of it? We've sent one letter, and I'm sure you're going to tell me we haven't had any response. So what was the point? If we are a political force, then we should be using our political nous and our political clout to get things done. So let's not have motions on this agenda that are going to end up with nothing done. In the end, this has just proved that nobody's interested in what we say. So if we're going to put motions through council, can we leave this on, this particular item on, and keep following up right again? You know, if it's about recycling, can we keep writing to people until we get some kind of response? That's all I'm asking.
Right, I'm going to go to Councillor
And I do just need a seconder for what I've said, if you do want to take it off the agenda.
Hang on. Are you suggesting we take it off the agenda or keep it on? Sorry, there was a lot in there.
Yeah. Well, the usual incoherent rant, yeah. Okay. What I'm saying is, I think I've made my point. So, in the motion it said, all it will take for this not to keep coming back is a straightforward vote of those present. If we vote not to have this thing on the agenda again, then that will be the end of it. But what I want is future motions to be on the agenda and have some momentum behind them and keep going until we get a resolution.
Don't say we want momentum behind it. Sorry, you can't say that. Councillor Flux, and then I've got two or three more.
I was just going to come in because I'm chairing the Constitutional Working Group, and you are a member of the Constitutional Working Group, and I think that might be the junction where we decide how we progress with this.
Are you happy with that? Second that motion. Do you?
I propose that we move to the vote.
I've got some speakers. Councillor Dale.
Thank you very much. I would like to support Councillor Reid. I think the issue is that we have actually written to all these people, and I think we need to know if anybody's responded. So, and I think that's I mean, this is going back, I can't remember when it was here, but it's a long January 2019. Has not one of these people written back? And I'm asking a question because I think this is what we're actually talking about. Is anybody listening? Because I can say that actually I'm working with Northern Rail very closely on the line between Carlisle and Newcastle, and I've really made some headway. They've been absolutely wonderful. But what I don't understand is why nobody has responded to this motion. Everybody was written to. Why haven't we had one response? And I think that's what Councillor Reid's getting at, is that actually, does anybody listen to any of our motions? So have we any political nows?
We will find out if there has been any correspondence. I think Councillor Oliver might be able to help on that one.
I can't help on whether there's been any response, and I understand and agree with what Councillor Reid was saying, in that if there is a motion, it needs to be followed up, and it needs to be something that we can actually influence rather than spurious motions about things that Northumberland County Council has no influence over. But in this case, I think we got a response right at the beginning, didn't we? That actually what had been agreed was that there would be a second person on the train. So I think we're in danger of just wanting people to write to us and not actually achieve anything significant.
Right, I've got Councillor Bourne. I presume this is the last one, then we'll move forward.
Thank you, Chair. I was going to also second Councillor Reid's motion. I think this should come off the agenda. I do agree, surprisingly, with Councillor Reid that we are often in this chamber brought motions which have very little relevance to this authority, with the spurious notion that residents might be concerned about a particular issue. We write to lots of people with very often no reply or meaningless replies. I would echo what was said and say maybe this coming year we should stop having motions maybe drafted by outside bodies, dished around by local authorities, brought to this authority. That maybe we should concentrate on things that this council can do and put a stop to sort of these posturing motions that are sort of dictated by certain outside organisations and presented by certain parties, shall we say. Thank you.
All right, point noted. Councillor Reid, and then we'll move to a vote.
Thank you. First of all, I am sorry that so many Conservatives seem to have approved of what I've said. I'm obviously doing something wrong. Anyway, the motion said that if we did get a response, we would all hear from it. It was so. If you've had a letter that said it's all right, then it should have been shared with all of us. That's what the motion said. Anyway, I'm quite happy that we all stick our hands up. We don't I think I've just made my point. And if we can get to the Constitution Working Group and work out some way of making motions more impactful, more important to us, then I think that would be a really good place to be.
Right, so we're going to vote on dropping this motion so this doesn't appear every meeting and put it to the Constitution Working Group. All those in favour, please show.
Agreed.
Anybody against? Ooh. It was carried. Abstentions? The motion's carried. Thank you. Item 17, to receive and consider the following annual reports. Appendix 2, this is page 207 to 240. I'm not there yet, so who's going first? Who's on the list? 207. Which one? Councillor Bourne.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to present my report on behalf of the committee. I want to express my thanks to the members of the committee and my Vice Chairman, Councillor Grimshaw. We've had a busy year. I'd like to also express my thanks to Sean and the team of officers who have made what we've done possible. During the year, we've looked at various things, including lots of exciting projects, which we have put to scrutinise before they went to Cabinet, including new terminals in Blythe, the Ashwood Business Park, placement of the Berwick Leisure Centre, and loans to different outside organisations. We've also, and quite importantly, scrutinised the transition for March from the previous company into a new company, and really drilled into that and allayed a lot of the fears that were circulated regarding that process, which has all gone very smoothly. Thank you.
Any questions? I can't see any. Next one, Communities in Place, Councillor Reid.
Thank you, Chair. Believe it or not, we I don't know how Sean's managed to distill endless hours into 2.5 pages, but well done to him. I think we have done some interesting work. I think we have been able to help the council find its way forward, change the process it's doing. The whole committee works hard. Sean and the rest of the team give us plenty to go at, and I would hope that you would accept the report as being a true record of what we've done and endorse what we're going to do next year.
Any questions? Can't see any. Endorse the report. Next one. 3, Health and Wellbeing, Councillor Watson. Page 216.
Very happy to present this report. I think it's quite comprehensive, and we've had a really good year dealing with things. Unfortunately, some of them, as I mentioned before, had not been finalised yet, but in the next year I think we will do that. Thank you very much.
Any questions?
Hope you will accept.
Accept the report. 4, Family and Children's Services, Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. Yes, happy to present this report to full council. We've had a very busy year, 10 meetings. We've been the busiest Overview and Scrutiny Committee, looking at 42 reports. Some controversial things on there that we really looked into. The post-16 transport policy, reorganisation of education in the West, elective home education and the like, were all big reports that the committee did a really good job at looking into. It was pointed out to me before the meeting that I have forgot to thank my fabulous Vice Chairman, Councillor Mark Swinburne, who is diligent in everything he does, including currently chairing the task and finish group we're running on children permanently excluded from school and elective home education, looking into academies excluding pupils and the reasons why, because the figures don't quite add up. So we really look forward to the conclusion of that report, which is expected sort of now, and we're looking forward to another good year ahead. Thank you.
Any questions? Accept the report. Now we'll go on to report of the Standards Committee, Councillor Armstrong.
Thank you, Chair. I would like you all to accept this, and I'm terribly sorry, I've went and lost my page. Oh. Yeah. I'm sorry, I was that busy. All right, pages 225 to 227. Can we accept this report, annual report of the Standards Committee?
Can we accept it? Any questions? Councillor Hill.
Thank you, Chair. Just a quick question. It's not just relevant to the Standards Committee, it's relevant to this authority. I've raised this before. Page 226, the R. Harvey versus Ledbury Town Council, potential implications for Northumberland County Council. Is this going to be the sum consideration of that important case by this authority? I think we are in danger, like a lot of local government, is looking at things in a very narrow and tick box way. There's implications of this case for our work with the parish and town council sector. There are implications regarding the whole area of whistleblowing. And I think that we tend to have this tick box exercise. We go, oh, there's this important case, stick it on a standards report. Whistleblowing, we have safe call, tick the box, yeah, we're dealing with that, when we're really not, like many local authorities. And looking at things in a very narrow way, it said, and then this end result will be the monitoring officer will speak to the chief officer of NULC about the implications of this case. Well, is that wise, given that NULC are badly compromised in this, given that they gave the shockingly bad advice to Ledbury Town Council and actually want to sweep the whole thing under the carpet?
Yeah. Legal officer.
Thank you, Chairman. In the absence of Mr. Jackson, who is your independent chair of the Standards Committee, I'm sure he would be keen to ensure that if members of the Standards Committee wanted to do further work in relation to this particular case, that could be brought back to the committee at a date of their choosing. I have raised the implications of the case with the local NALC chief officer, Mr. Ricketts, and he has done some sterling work in relation to raising the profile of the content of both the content of the case and the implications that it throws up for those participating town and parish councils within Northumberland. It is an important judgment. I'm not sure it's a judgment that will necessarily stand the test of time, but I'm quite willing to work both with the Standards Committee and, notwithstanding what Councillor Hill has said, with the local NALC office. I believe in relation to this particular case, it was the local NALF county division that gave some erroneous advice. I'm not sure that was necessarily reflective of the national body's position, but I don't think that there's anything that we have any cause for concern in relation to the operation of the local county NALC organisation.
Okay, thank you for that. Any more questions? It's noted. Okay. Where are we now? Pension fund. Councillor Watson.
Thank you. The pensions fund. I'd like to say, first of all, how difficult it is on the pension fund. You're dealing with an awful lot of money. You're dealing with £1.3 billion. And I'm pleased to say that we've got a very, very good, inclusive committee working on this. I'm really obliged to my Vice Chairman for his help over the year, but also to the members. We are constantly being commended for our diligence and our work on the pension fund. And I'm really honoured and pleased to be chairman of it. You won't want to read it all, but if you do, you'll see it's all actually good news. And if you get to the back page, which I always used to go to the bottom line, you'll see that it looks like we're going to have about £1.3 billion in the pension fund, which is the best it's ever been. Well, not quite, but almost the best it's ever been. And certainly an awful lot better than 10 years or so before. Now, I'm not taking credit for that as a chairman, because these decisions take many, many years to bear fruit. But I do think we're going in the right direction. And I do think that what we've done over the last year or so has helped us to be in a very stable position. I thank all of those people who've worked on it and commend this report to the Council.
Any questions? Agreed. I'll just go Councillor Castle when the microphone's there, and then we'll go to Councillor Ledger. because we've got the veterans and the armed.
Well,
Councillor
the youngest
Castle,
veteran
Councillor-
first. Thank you very much, Chairman. Can I say what an honour and privilege it has been to be the Armed Forces Veterans Champion as a veteran myself, and I didn't expect we'd do so well. We're at the forefront of this across the nation now, and to actually have got the Gold Award this year really reflects on the work of the officers. And I'm going to name Jackie Roll and Nicola for having given us superb support and got us a Gold Award this year. It's very much down to their efforts, and I do thank them, and it's in the interests of the whole county that we have our armed forces looked after, not just whilst they're in service, but when they leave and face the difficulties some families inevitably face, especially on housing and education. And so I do thank them. It is a privilege to be part of this and to actually say to others that yes, I am the Armed Forces Veterans Champion. And what we also managed this year is to actually appoint 2 outreach workers who've done excellent work. So far, about 300 cases, and they are working hard. They're excellent people, and I think that reflects extremely well across the whole council. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much indeed, Jim.
Councillor Dave Ledger.
Well, you would say, how can you follow that up?
Well, you can use the mic, Dave, please.
Yeah, I think I will. It's been an honour to have been the Armed Forces Champion for the last 6 years. The work that's been done phenomenally by a small team to produce what we've produced, the Gold Award, which was the highlight of the 6 years. We were runners, we didn't get to runner-up, but we were highly commended the year before, which was tremendous, and receiving the letter of commendation from the head of Manning, Lieutenant General Nagy, which was absolutely brilliant, which really gave the team a lift to actually do that extra little bit of work to achieve the Gold Award last year. The work that we've been doing right across the region. Yesterday, I was at the National Covenant Conference, which was held at a place that I really don't frequent very often, St James's Park in Newcastle. Being a Sunderland lad, it was a really dangerous place for me to be. But it was a marvellous day out. There was a lot of people from all over the country who've been looking at what we've been doing. And certainly the North East Network, which I chair, of all the 12 local authorities in the North East of England, which are all driving, and we've got 50% of all of the local authorities up to the gold standard. I regularly go and speak to Stepping into Health, where we work jointly with the team that Kelly knows very, very well in the health service. And the work that's going on, it is about partnership in the local authority and the health service. I also go to the regional mental health trusts, because a lot of the problems that our ex-service people are suffering from are many of the ailments that are caused through being in a hostile environment over extended periods of time. And it's a privilege to do so. So with that, the information all contained within here. My co-chairman over the last 12 months of the Armed Forces Forum for Northumberland is currently in Afghanistan, doing a 6-month tour over there. So, and it's been a privilege to have worked alongside with the commanding officer of our county yeomanry regiment. And also my co-chairman within the region is the Deputy Commander for Infantry Brigade, Colonel Andy Hatfield. So it's Northumberland is absolutely perched in the right place. And we are regarded as, surprisingly, I found out yesterday how well we are regarded yesterday. And the only thing that was missing yesterday was Jackie, because she was at another engagement talking about something. I wouldn't say it was more important than what we deal with. But certainly she had to go somewhere to deal with something seriously. But there you are. The report's there. And thanks to Gordon for being a very, very able veterans champion. And certainly we were both on parade on Saturday at St George's Day in Alnwick. And it was a delight to have wonderful weather in our county town of Alnwick. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dave. I did miss something because it was an email that came in late and was printed off and was lost. I've just got 3 little announcements to make before we move into part 2. But it's our highways team has won a national award. Have you said that? Have you done all them? In the north, and that one, the north of town. You've done it.
Where's he been?
Right. I have another late one in. The motion issue. The letter went to everyone, but it was that day that the announcement was made resolving the issue. Resolving the issue, sorry, it's your writing. This was probably why we did not receive the responses. Does that make sense? Right, let's move to part 2, which is the exclusion of the press and the public.